Hello, this is Luis Orozco. Welcome to my quick um, concept map draft presentation on IT security and IT operations and how they interrelate with healthcare informatics. So, some quick background information on IT security and IT operations. IT security encompasses all of the facets of cybersecurity, specifically the strategies, tools, and technologies used to prevent the unauthorized use of or the access of safeguarded assets, ranging from PCs to networks and, of course, data. The ultimate goal of security, or IT security, is to maintain high and appropriate levels of confidentiality, integrity, and the availability of data. On the other hand, IT operations refers to the unified efforts of various specialized IT sub-areas and the talents within. And their main goals are to maintain the technology and services required by an organization to remain operational as required. And this can be at times 24/7, 365 days a year. And this can include the management of various hardwares and softwares um, and other resources that an organization needs in order to conduct business as usual. Common technology in these areas are infrastructure, cloud services, vendor software and hardware, mobile and desktop management, and servers of all types, which can include web servers, database servers, application servers. So why did I choose IT security and IT operations as my main focus areas of this project? Well, both IT security and IT operations share common issues and solutions to issues that also afflict healthcare informatics. A common issue is the transmittal of data within or outside of an organization. So it is very common that both of these areas would be involved in such an undertaking. Um, for example, IT security would be involved from a security controls perspective and ensuring that the data is not corrupted or manipulated in any way during transmission. On the other hand, IT operations would be involved in making sure that the necessary hardware and software is in place and managed or maintained properly to make sure that these kinds of operations can continue or exist within an environment. So both areas are leveraged to some extent whenever new technology or current technology is used in an organization. So again, an example of IT security being uh, put in place are the necessary controls to make operations function as intended or as required by regulations or standards. And IT operations would take care of issues like ensuring that the current infrastructure can handle a new system that is being brought on by, for example, a healthcare clinic. So some currently identified challenges related to both IT security and operations, and also relating to health informatics, are security breaches of clinical systems or networks. And these can occur in a variety of ways. It can be user error, such as clicking on a phishing email or a link within an email, to messages being intercepted somehow, or through malware being somehow injected into a system, you name it. The possibilities are quite endless. And kind of already touched on the secure transmittal of information and or data. Beyond that, infrastructure needs of clinical settings. That again, this can range from on-site server and clients, pretty much being desktops or laptops, that being the only necessary equipment at like a small clinic, or if need be, or larger environments such as cloud services. Um, Again, just figuring out what works best for a clinic, what can they handle, what are the resources like, and then DevSecOps. This is pretty much the idea or the concept of incorporating security and operations earlier in the development phases of systems or applications. This is a topic that has gained traction in the past few years because, again, it brings both of these very important areas to the forefront of any systems that are being put in place at various organizations. This, in the end, saves a bunch of time and resources to ensure that these systems are secure, and you don't have to dedicate a lot of resources on the back end to secure it, and to also incorporate the operations teams and make sure that they can also support the systems and applications that are being developed, and they don't have to learn it on the spot towards the end when these systems are already in place. So on screen is my concept map draft, at least version 1.0. As you can see, it's a little chaotic at the moment. There's a lot of things going on, lots of concepts in the form of bubbles. So if I can quickly explain, what I've done is put the center focus area that I've been talking about in this presentation, that being IT security and IT operations and their challenges, in the middle, and chosen 4 general topic areas that I've noticed or I think relate to health informatics topics. And those are communications, databases, networks, and that idea of DevSecOps. And so what I've done is also split up the 3 main areas of IT security, IT operations, and health informatics within their own colored bubbles, blue being security, green operations, and orange health informatics. And as you can see, there's a lot of connections going on. I could even argue that it's a little redundant, but that just kind of speaks to the interconnected nature of all these areas, regardless of whether it's IT security and health informatics, or IT operations and IT security, or IT operations and health informatics. So again, just to pick one example out of the many here, and just to note, since we haven't talked about IT security too much, there aren't that many orange connections to those just yet, but I suspect that there will be. But I digress. Going back to the example, if I could pick one here, health records is a concept deriving from communications. And communications in this case is any kind of, again, any type of communication, whether it's email, messages, documents. So in this case, a health record would be a document. And then I've also listed the types of records that we have talked about so far in the class, that being EHR, EMR, PHR, and then beyond that, how, for example, EHRs are thus then EHR certified, and how that then leads to meaningful use. So again, there's some branching going on, and since that only covers the health informatics portion of it, communications, if followed through, can also be tied into, for example, firewalls up and to the right side, or middle to the right side. So essentially, my thought process for this was, in order for communication, for example, messages to exit a setting, such as a clinic, they need to pass through firewalls. So there needs to be firewall rules in place set forth by the networking operations teams to allow, again, this communication or type of communication to flow in or out of the environment. So again, happy to receive some feedback, whether it's a little clustered or not, whether I can change a few things. But again, I will be adding to it, hopefully cleaning it up a bit as well. All right, and with with that, that ends my concept map draft presentation. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed watching. And I would really appreciate your feedback, so please feel free to leave a comment. And thank you.